Hey, it's Amy Shaw, the Soul Whisperer here again. I just wanted to make a second video before I head off into my group this morning. It's just going to be really brief, just something that came up for me this week that I wanted to share and offer to you. As I've said many times before, I still am in shamanic practice. I don't necessarily call myself a shamanic practitioner. I do choose to call myself a shaman. This is really just semantics. It doesn't really actually matter, and I don't want to get into that. But I'm telling you that to say that I am absolutely 100% in practice, meaning that I'm continuing to practice. I'm continuing to learn. Each person that comes to me, I learn. And while I've been a student of the Foundation for Shamanic Studies for 3 years now, I'm currently in their 3-year program. We just finished our first year, so I got 2 more years to go in that program. Amazing experience. I'm learning a lot. But as it's called, the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, it is essentially just the foundation. It's sort of the jumping off point. And as I've jumped off and dived into shamanic practice, I continue to learn from each person that comes to me. So I try to share a little bit of that wisdom and knowledge to you. And I know that my viewers, they're going to be of all sorts of different levels of understanding and practice and spirituality and orientation and all of that. I understand that. So today I want to specifically talk to people that are thinking about being in shamanic practice or have much more of a shamanic basis for their comprehension of their own spirituality, and especially if you're doing work for other people in the role of a shaman, then this video is going to definitely be more for you. So one of the things, I'm always continuing to be amazed by the things that the spirits teach me and what comes up for me. One of the things that came up for me this week is I did a session for somebody, and as I went into the spiritual realm and do what shamans do, I discovered that this person was actually merged with their spirit animal. But this person was not himself shamanic, so he didn't come to the table like fully aware of his spirit guides, working with his spirit guides. He had no sort of comprehension of that, or not comprehension, maybe that's not the word I'm looking for, because he is a practitioner of a specific modality that's maybe a little bit less spiritual and leans more into the psychology aspect of things. Although he is a spiritual person, he's not a shaman, and he doesn't work shamanistically. He doesn't go into the different worlds, the astral realm, or any of that. He doesn't do any of that type of work. So he wasn't consciously connected with having guides of any sort, doesn't work with the guides in that way. So he came to me for services. He had very specific symptoms that he wanted to alleviate or work on. And when I went in there, what I realized, and this is the first client that I've had with this condition, so that's why I'm bringing it to the YouTube audience here. He was completely merged with his spirit animal. In other words, the spirit of this particular animal was like literally living within him. It was sitting in his stomach and his gut, and it was causing him to have behaviors and symptoms that he was trying to alleviate. And he had been struggling with this for years and years. And so part of the work that I did was to remove or extract, from that, because although shamans, are encouraged to merge with their spirit guides, they're not to stay merged with them. This is when problems happen. So I helped extract that spirit guide, placed it in an appropriate place physically, in proximity to him, because I didn't want to, remove it so far away that it wasn't helpful for him. It actually is a guide that he can continue to develop a relationship and work with now that he's conscious of it. We just didn't want it sitting in his gut and causing him all these symptoms. And it's interesting because I've worked with a lot of people who have had attachments of people that have passed over to the other side, and they're, compulsing them to drink alcohol and do drugs and engage in indiscriminate sex. They're compulsing them to do these hedonistic things. But I hadn't actually encountered somebody who had an attachment per se that needed extraction that was a spirit animal guide. So this is why I'm bringing it to you, and it's very interesting. So what I did shamanically was, like I said, extract that from the center, the solar plexus from the gut. I placed it in a more appropriate place and proximity to his body. I gave him very specific instructions moving forward, how to honor that spirit, work with that spirit, and that was channeled from, the spirits to him through me. And so I gave him that instruction. And afterwards, when I told him, and that's another thing is normally, we're absolutely trained this in the foundation, is that you just don't really talk to your clients about the work that you've done. You keep it very brief. You don't go into a lot of detail about, oh, I saw this and this happened, and you just don't do that. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's a whole different video. If you have questions about that, write me, and I'd be happy to explain to you why we don't do that, and how it's so important to guard that. But once in a while, well, two things. People usually want more information. They want something to process and chew on. And two, sometimes things come up and I do share that. In this particular case, I did share, hey, this came up and I did this work, and this is this animal spirit. The reason I did that is because, power retrieval is definitely something that shamanic practitioners do, at least practitioners trained in the Michael Harner core shamanism way. And, this obviously is a spirit guide that this person, that he needed to become familiar with, consciously aware of, and start working with for his own power. We just didn't want this thing taking over so much that was causing him these symptoms that he didn't like. They weren't healthy for him. So I did share with him, hey, this came up and I did the extraction and now it's here, and here's how you work with this animal spirit. And the confirmation came immediately, because he said to me, oh my gosh, like a decade ago I went to a shaman and I was told that this particular animal was my totem. Not just spirit guide, but totem. So it was like immediate confirmation from the spirits that came through him that this is true. This what I experienced is the real thing. And that's the wonderful thing about shamanism, is it is so much direct experience. It's undeniable direct experience. And you just get these constant confirmations. Another confirmation came from him this morning. I woke up to an email and he was sharing something very, very, that was another confirmation, another encounter that he had with a different type of animal spirit that's related to the animal spirit that was, merged with him. And he was saying, I've never had that happen, but this crazy thing happened. I got in my car and there was this animal spirit, like this literal physical animal spirit, and it got on his body, and he thought it was that, it was just, he shared with me in the email just how remarkable, and that it was confirmation for him once again that we were on the right track in helping him heal these symptoms that he no longer wanted to struggle and suffer with. So anyway, I just want to offer you that today. If you're in shamanic practice and you're working with clients, that you never know what can come up. It's just amazing. And so this is the first time I've actually had somebody that came to me that was completely merged with an animal spirit, had no conscious awareness of this, and I had to do an actual extraction of the animal spirit. So yeah, kind of a cool experience. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always just reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. All right, love you guys.